Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel. Today I'm going to deal with a topic called Passover, right? So I'm just going to do a Bible share on Passover, and I'm just going to read a few scriptures pertaining to Passover so we get a flavor of what Passover was about and what it entailed, right? So I thought it'd just be interesting to have a look at that, right? So let's jump right into it. And we are going to go to Exodus 12, and we're going to read from 1 to 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be first month of the year to you. Right? So the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt. So they were in the land of Egypt, right? Saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month thou shalt take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. Right? So a lamb, the Passover is significant of a lamb being sacrificed, right? 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbour next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. So that means you had to eat the lamb, right? Your lamb shall be without blemish. So the lamb had to be without blemish. So this was a stipulation about the lamb. A male of the first year. So it had to be a male, and it had to be of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up unto the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. So there was a specific time when it should be killed. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it, right? So basically this was a specific way in which it was supposed to be killed. So 7, and they shall take the blood and strike it on two side posts on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in the night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it, right? So the lamb was to be eaten, right? It was to be roasted with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. So they were supposed to roast the lamb and eat it with bread, right? Unleavened bread. Eat not of it raw nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire. So it must be fully cooked with fire. His head with his legs, and with his purtenance thereof. 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. So we were told that we have to eat the lamb, right? You had to eat the lamb. There's no questions about it, right? So Exodus 12, 21 to 28. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And he shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in blood, that it is a basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts which the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on two sides of posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in into your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance for thee and thy sons forever. So this was something that we were supposed to uphold forever, right? And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you according to as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service, right? So we got it from Egypt, and then all the way in the wilderness, all the way to home in Israel, right? We're supposed to uphold it, right? 26, and it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? 27, that ye shall say, it is a sacrifice of the Lord's Passover. So it was the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshipped. So it was when we passed away from Egypt all the way to in the wilderness to Israel, right? So let's read that bit again. That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshipped, right? So the Most High organized it so that Pharaoh let our people go, right? 28, and the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. Right, so let's now go to Leviticus 23. We're going to come back to Exodus 12, but let's go to Leviticus 23 for more of the law. So we read in 4-8. For the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons, in the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. Right, so it's the 14th day of the first month. Now the first month of the year would normally be in April, around April, right? Or late March, April. Right, so it's the 14th day. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. Right, so the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover. So it was when you were supposed to have the lamb, right? And the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. So you must eat unleavened bread for about 7 days. Right? In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is the holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So we weren't supposed to work during when all this is taking place, right? Which is, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work within. So you're not supposed to be doing any work within that period, right? So let's go back to Exodus 12, and we're going to read from 40 to 50. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years, right? So we as Israelites, Israelites are black people that have been through slavery and colonialism, right? So where are we? Egypt, right? So we were in Egypt for 430 years, 41, and it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. 42, it is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. Let's read 42 again. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is the night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. 43, and the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou art circumcise him, then shall he eat thereof. Right, so it's a prerequisite that you have to be circumcised, right? So you must be a servant, of Israel, right? Right, and a servant bought for money, right? So a stranger was not supposed to take part, right? In eating the lamb and the unleavened bread, right? So 45, a foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof. 47, and the congregation of Israel shall keep it. But when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. So you must be uncircumcised in the flesh. That would have been the male, right? Not the female. 49, I think 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. 50. Thus did all the children of Israel as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they, right? So we followed it. On a whole, we followed it, right? So we were supposed to follow it, and we were commanded to follow it, and that's the end of that, right? So we had to follow it, right? So let's go to 1 Corinthians 5:7. So it's 1 Corinthians 5:7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. So Christ in the new covenant became the Passover, right? So he was a sacrificial lamb. That's why in the scriptures, when it comes to Christ, he always is associated as being the lamb, right? Because he was to be the sacrificial lamb, right? Right? And we are always the sheep, right? So Christ became the Passover. So Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. See, he sacrificed himself for us. So that was the end of Passover. So we weren't supposed to do Passover after that, because he did the ultimate, which is he sacrificed himself, thereby ending the covenant with Israel, right? So let's do Matthew 26. So we're going to go to Matthew 26 and we're going to read from 14 to 30. So we're going to go to Matthew 26 and we're going to read from 14 to 30. So that's quite a bit of reading, right? So we're going to speed through this. So this is the Passover, which was the Last Supper, right? And Christ basically was sitting with his disciples and he was saying, one of you lot is a devil. Right? Right, let's read it. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and he said unto them, what will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Right? So Judas sought an opportunity to betray Christ. Right? 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? So the unleavened bread was the Passover, right? So it was the first day, right? When we were supposed to be eating the lamb and the bread, right? 18. And he said, go into the city to such a man and say unto him, Master, saith my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover, right? So the disciples made ready the Passover. And now when evening was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered them and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. So one of them that dippeth their hand in the dish will betray him. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto the man that whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. So Christ is saying, okay, well, hey, you know who you are, and quite frankly, it's a bad idea, because I'm going to get you back. Right? 25. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? And he said unto him, Thou hast said. 26. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat this. This is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. So this was in the act of the New Testament that was to come, right? So Christ knew that he always knew that he had to die, right, and be sacrificed to end the old covenant and usher in the new covenant, right? So let's read that bit again. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed of many for the circumcision of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom, right? So Christ is coming back and he will drink flows and flows of wine with us, right? 30, and when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. 31, then said Jesus unto him, Jesus unto him, all you shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. 32, but after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. 33, Peter answered and said unto him, thou all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. That's 3 times, right? 35, Peter said unto him, thou, I shall die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. Okay, right. The important thing I wanted to take from that was that it was Passover, and Christ was just about to be crucified to become the Passover lamb, right? So, let's now go to Luke 22:7. So we're now going to go to the prophet Luke, and we're going to read his testimony in Luke 22:7. Then came the day of the unleavened bread. Okay, so let's read up a bit, right? Let's read up a bit to give a little bit context, right? So we're going to read from 1 and we're going to end at 7, right? Now the feast of the unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people, right? They were all getting together. The scribes, the wicked Israelites were getting together, and they were collaborating with the Romans of how they were going to get Christ, right? Then enters Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. So to Judas was one of the 12 disciples, and the devil entered into him. 4, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. So Judas sold Christ out. And they were glad and convenated to him to give him money. So he got paid for being a sellout, right? 6, and he promised and sought up an opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. 7, then came the day of the unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed, right? So the Passover must be killed. And so who was the Passover? It was Christ, right? So Christ was the Passover, right? So let's now let's purchase the point. And let's now go to... Right, so let's purchase that point and go to 1 Corinthians 5:7. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 5:7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as you are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. Right, so the important thing to take from that is that Christ became the Passover. So he was the Passover lamb. So he was later crucified on the cross, right? So he became the curse for Israel, right? Because he hung on a tree, right? So he was the ultimate Passover lamb. So the point I'm trying to make, so that's all the scriptures I'm going to read, by the way. I'm not going to read any more, right? But the point I'm trying to make by reading this is that we are no longer under the Passover, right? So we're no longer under the Passover. In fact, let's go to Colossians. Let's go to Colossians 2, and we're going to read 16 to 17. Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of a holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So this was changed in the new covenant. So under Christ's commandment, we no longer have to uphold the Passover. Why? Because Christ became the Passover. He was a sacrificial lamb, right? So he became the ultimate Passover, and that ended the Passover. And in Colossians it tells you to judge no man in meat or in drink, because it was always meat and drink connected to all these feast days and festival days and things that you had to do. And certainly you had to kill the animal in a certain way, and you had to keep it in a certain way. You had to eat it at a certain time and on a specific day, right? So let no man judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day or of a new moon or a Sabbath. So obviously the Passover would be a festival day or feast day, right? Which are shadow or holy day, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So basically, Christ now became the Passover, and anything we do in pertaining to a holy day or a feast day or a Sabbath, it pales into significance of what is yet to come, right? That's why it's a shadow of things to come. So the moral of the story is Christ has now become the Passover. So we no longer have to go back and do the old covenant because we're not under it anyway, right? We're only under what Christ said that we should do. And Christ is saying that we no longer have to uphold that anymore. And Christ himself became the sacrificial lamb for the whole of Israel. Brothers and sisters, I hope you were edified. Shalom.